Talking stick is a Native American method that is used in large group, and you pass the stick from person to person, passing positive knowledge from one generation to the other. For librarians, you can use, do some research, literature, poems, any kind of writing that you feel will be appropriate for the activity. Because the idea here is that when this poem is completely, that someone is going to come forward and is going to tell a story that relates to them. If no one comes forward, we're going to throw in the time. So this is the idea. After the person is done, that person throws the baton to someone else. So the idea is to keep everyone sharp and paying attention.
I wouldn't have planted the corn like that, in crumbling holes dug into the tan hillside, among stones dusty with the rough handling by the sand's fingers. The corn I planted wouldn't have grown.
I guess my family does own a farm a little bit further away from where I live, but where my dad grew up, and so we have a farmland there. But recently, my dad had news that we could put some wind farm, you know, on there, and we're going to try that out. So kind of goes along with the corn. So that is what's planted there. But now we're going to also have the wind farm plus the corn. So it'll work out.
This is the story about my kindergarten teacher. One day she came in, it was autumn, and she had an acorn in her hand, and she said, "Now when you walk home today," because we all walked to school and back, she said, "You look for one of these acorns, I'll bet you're going to find one on the ground. And if you take it home and plant it in the ground, make sure, try to find one with a little sprout, and a tree will grow." So that day after school, I walked home and I found one. And I'm the fourth of 5 kids. And I went home and we all walked together. We always had to stick together. And they all laughed at me and said, "Oh, yeah, a tree's going to grow from that. Yeah, sure, sure." And I went home and I went to this like really open place where she had said, "Don't plant it where there are wires or anything. Find a place in the yard where there's nothing but the sky." So I found that place and I just put my finger in the ground and I made a little hole and I stuck it in the ground. And it grew. And that tree now has nothing in its way, and I'm 52 and I was 5 at the time. Oh. So it's a beautiful, sturdy oak.
So you can see the power of stories, right? When you give people the opportunity to open up. So usually when we do this activity, we do it in a circle. And it works really well. And you have the choice, you make the call whether you want the baton to be passed from person to person, or if you want to make it more fun, then you kind of like, you know, make your choice to that way it keeps people really sharp, because everybody has to pay attention in case they're called, the baton is given to them. So as a facilitator, then the next step is, you know, how do you close this kind of an activity, which could take, you know, if you have this amount of people in a room, it could take more than an hour, right? Because you want to give at least, you know, 3 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes to people to talk about their story. So as a facilitator, then the key will be, you know, to ask questions that start linking, you know, for example, what were some of the main things that you heard from the stories today?
Energy sources.
Energy sources, right? Water, right, what else?
Childhood experiences.
Right, exactly. And one of the interesting things about it is there was this back and forth about things that we used to do in the farm and how, you know, these practices we're doing it nowadays, right? So what you do is you're linking the past to the present, which is the whole key of the exercise. And again, it's important that you have a note taker who's documenting all the things that have been said through the exercise. Okay?